a demon dwelling inside me, biding its time until the day it would shatter my ordinary existence. Those were the words that erupted from the lips of Shiki Ichinose in the very first leaked footage of Tougen Anki, and they caused an uproar that pulsed through anime communities around the globe. The clip, only a few seconds long, unleashed a tidal wave of speculation. Who is Shiki? What triggers his newfound bloodline? And could this adaptation, scheduled for its grand arrival in the summer of 2025, truly be the show that transforms the entire landscape of streaming? That is exactly what we are here to uncover. Today we dive deep into the Oni and Momotaro conflict, explore why Tougen Anki, Dark Demon of Paradise, is primed to be so monumental, and figure out how it just might redefine the way we devour anime content in all corners of the world. Before we can tackle these intriguing questions, let us address what Tougen Anki brings to the table. Created by Yura Urushibara and initially debuting in Akita Shoten's Weekly Shonen Champion, this new series taps into the age-old legend of an epic struggle, the Oni versus the Momotaro clan. We have heard tales of demonic figures and countless stories before, but this time, the narrative plunges us into a fresh quagmire of danger and moral ambiguity. The Oni have been persecuted for generations, but is their fearsome visage truly the driving factor behind their exile, or was there a misunderstanding lying at the core of this ancient war? The show promises to explore that nuance in depth as the main character uncovers the blood pumping through his veins. In this scenario, we ask ourselves, are these Oni monstrous by nature, or are they forced into darkness by any society that fails to understand them? By the end of this breakdown, you will have a far clearer idea of the sacrifices, betrayals, and alliances that shape this remarkable anime. In Tougen Anki, the spotlight casts itself on Shiki Ichinose, a seemingly typical teenager living in a world that is anything but normal. Indeed, the world is divided among two ancient powers, the Momotaro Agency and the Oni Agency. Generations ago, the Oni isolated themselves to protect humankind from their own destructive potential. But that peace was shattered by a Momotaro crusade that reconfigured the realm's power dynamics and left the Oni scattered, hidden, or living subdued existences. Shiki, growing up without any suspicion about his origins, stumbles across shocking truths after a surprise attack that nearly costs him his life. Imagine discovering overnight that you share roots with fearsome beings who can wreck entire armies with a single outburst. Little wonder the poor guy feels as if his entire identity has unraveled in a matter of hours. The entire show hinges on the questions. How will Shiki handle the explosive awakening of his Oni instincts? And who can he truly trust? Right out of the gate, we see him grappling with forces that threaten to undo any sense of mundanity he has ever known. Yet, Tougen Anki is not purely about manifestations of brute power. It is a story that explores loyalty, loss, tradition, and the price we pay when we cling to misguided prejudices for too long. In the pages of the original manga, Shiki discovers friends turned foes, foes turned part-time allies, and entire families fractured by wrongdoing that no one can precisely recall in detail. Prepare yourselves. This is not just a story of supernatural ability. It is a thriller of espionage, heartfelt confessions, and a twist-laden path that will leave viewers breathless, especially once we see it come to life in animated form. But let us zoom out for a moment and discuss the staggering reality of Tougen Anki's debut. This series is slated to land in summer 2025, a period already brimming with big-name releases across the anime landscape. Heck, the entire industry is riding high after the string of blockbusters we have witnessed in previous seasons, from action-powered juggernauts to tear-jerking slice-of-life tales. Yet, Tougen Anki has managed to stand out from the crowd for one main reason: its unprecedented streaming deal. This brand new anime will be airing simultaneously on Netflix, Prime Video, and Crunchyroll. If that is not enough, the show will also extend its reach to multiple other platforms like Samsung TV Plus, Anime Onagai, Banplay, and many more across various territories. This prompts us all to ask, why is this simultaneous streaming approach so monumental? Could it signal a truce in the ongoing battles between the giant streaming platforms? Or is Tougen Anki simply too irresistible to be contained by a single distributor? In an era where many fans debate which platform is the rightful home of anime, which streaming giant invests the most resources to deliver top-tier subtitled and dubbed content. This collaborative launch shatters the usual mold. The producers behind Tougen Anki have effectively declared, "Why not everywhere?" If you, dear viewer, find this initiative as groundbreaking as we do, feel free to give a thumbs up to show your excitement. That is our first friendly nudge. Let us know if you believe that distributing anime across multiple major platforms at once is the future of streaming, or if it merely opens the door to more content overload. This moment could redefine strategies across the board. After all, Netflix, Prime Video, and Crunchyroll were once locked in fierce competition for exclusive licensing deals. Now, with Tougen Anki bridging those seemingly opposing forces, watchers everywhere gain the ultimate freedom to choose, and the anime itself wins access to the widest possible audience. So, yes, the manner in which this show premieres is revolutionary, but let us not forget that none of this would matter if the story and production quality did not deliver on their massive ambitions. Tougen Anki is directed by Ato Nonoka at Studio Hibari, a name you might recall from a slew of visually dazzling titles. When the trailers hit the web, viewers marveled at the fluid fight choreography, the lifelike rendering of the demon transformations, and the eerie glow that underscores the Oni presence. Furthermore, the script is in the hands of Yuki Sugawara, while character designs are by Ryoko Amisaki. If you have followed other recent gems, you know these two creators can spin enticing worlds and memorable personalities from the most straightforward premise. In this case, the premise is anything but straightforward, ensuring that the adaptation will hopefully deliver a mesmerizing spectacle. But do not take my word for it. Watch the official preview that teases how each scene is painstakingly crafted with luminous coloration and emotional weight. Adding to the surreal atmosphere, Kota Yamamoto composes the background score, while the renowned Pony Canyon is overseeing music production. This all but guarantees that the series will pack a dramatic audio punch. The opening theme, Overnight, performed by the Oral Cigarettes, leads us into each episode with energetic rhythms. Then, come the ending credits, we get What is Justice, performed by Bandmade. The synergy between these two songs alone raises goosebumps, and glimpses of them in the promotional videos promise a sonic experience you will not want to skip. But these big names in music are not simply there for show. In Tougen Anki, music doubles as a narrative device, intensifying the mood and weaving subconscious cues into the viewer's mind. When Shiki clenches his fists, torn between loyalty to new allies or confusion about a hidden lineage, you can expect the carefully composed soundtrack to hammer home the emotional gravity. We would be remiss not to shed light on the star-studded voice cast. Kazuki Ura brings Shiki Ichinose's tumultuous emotional journey to life. Veteran actor Hiroshi Kamiya steps in as Naito Mudano, a role that demands grit, charm, and a dash of moral ambiguity. The cunning Jin Kogasaki is brought to life by Kotaro Nishiyama, and rounding out the primary circle of characters are Manaka Iwami as Homare Byobugaora and Shogo Sakata as Ikari Yaoroshi. Each of these voice actors has tackled challenging roles in the past, but Tougen Anki might force them to stretch their talents to the limit. After all, the dynamic among the Oni is not simply about raw ferocity. We are talking about complex hierarchies, hidden agendas, and raw emotional baggage that could crack even the hardest shell. When you pair that complexity with Natsuki Hanai as Juji Yusurube, Kaito Miura as Rokuro Kiriyama, and Aimi as Kuina Sazanami, among others, you get an ensemble cast that signals this production is looking to soar above standard shonen fare. But let us not gloss over the foundations of the narrative. This show is not titled Dark Demon of Paradise for nothing. At its core is the centuries-long grudge between Oni and Momotaro. The Oni agency formed to ensure the survival of the demon-blooded line, while the Momotaro agency claims to stand for humankind's protection. However, as is typical of many epic sagas, the lines blur. Are we so sure that the Momotaro are purely heroes? Could the Oni be misunderstood victims of a violent conquest? Alternatively, is the truth more tangled than either side cares to admit? Even as Shiki shoulders the Oni powers unsealed within him, we realize how quickly preconceived notions start to unravel. The betrayal from a character he once respected might turn him toward rebellion. A gentle gesture from someone he assumed an enemy might tilt his moral compass yet again. It is precisely this whirlwind of emotional turmoil that sets Tougen Anki apart. As the story arcs unfold, the show consistently challenges the idea that any individual is wholly righteous or wicked. In this world, we walk an uneasy line, waiting for the next shocking twist. Of course, the big question remains. Why is the story of Tougen Anki so universally resonant that Netflix, Prime Video, and Crunchyroll are willing to put aside their typical rivalry to broadcast every new episode at exactly the same time? Some chalk it up to a desire to unify the anime fanbase. Others see it as a wise business move, in an era where content fragmentation leaves viewers skittish and irritated. If this approach succeeds, we may see more major upcoming titles adopt a multi-platform strategy. This could usher in an age where devouring your favorite anime does not hinge on which website you are signed up for. Instead, the fervency will revolve around the story itself, the artistry, and the community's shared experience of watching each cliffhanger unfold week by week. Still, the move is not without risks. Spreading the show across multiple platforms can be logistically complicated, especially regarding subtitles, dubs, localized marketing, and calculating revenue across so many outlets. But Tougen Anki seems intent on winning hearts, so do not be surprised if it spawns similar deals for other series in the future. Meanwhile, the production staff has gone to great lengths to keep fans in the loop. Already, behind-the-scenes tidbits about the motion capture processes have circulated on social media, and rumor has it that advanced editing by Yumika Okazaki has been crucial for capturing the show's furious pacing. One can only imagine the meticulous effort required to bring each Oni transformation to life, let alone depict the different branches of the Momotaro agency. We can look forward to battles that push animation techniques to the brink. One scene reportedly features over a dozen Oni in a single sequence, showcasing unique powers that collide in mass chaos. It is exactly the kind of spectacle that prompts watchers to hold their breath, their eyes locked on the screen as the next explosive moment beckons. If you are excited to see how these massive showdowns come to life, you may want to subscribe to stay in the loop with all our future deep dives. There is our second and final friendly call to action. We promise no spam, just passionate coverage of the hottest topics. While the epic confrontations will draw in adrenaline junkies, casual fans may find themselves equally captivated by the slow burn drama. Tougen Anki does not stop at flashy brawls. Caught in the tension are everyday people living under the looming presence of demon kind. Among them are those who question the morality of demon hunting, as well as families who have lost members to Oni incidents of the past. The anime teases entire side plots about individuals grappling with heartbreak, revenge, or the burden of tradition. In fact, the scope of characters extends well beyond Shiki himself, giving the show an almost labyrinthine potential. The producers likely recognize that such a wide-reaching narrative has the potential to captivate diverse audiences, from fans of intense action to those craving moral quandaries. Perhaps it is that universal appeal that convinced so many streaming services to unite under one banner. Another essential factor is the historical context. Tougen Anki stands on the legacy of demon-based anime, but it is forging an entirely new path. The Oni archetype is often overshadowed by more mainstream demon portrayals, yet here, Oni are not just savage beasts or manipulative tricksters. Instead, they represent an entire bloodline that faces oppression, heartbreak, and exile. Each Oni has a backstory that provides glimpses of who they were before they realized the destructive potential within them. This level of depth ensures the show resonates with viewers who see parallels to real-world struggles of identity, marginalization, and fear-driven hostility. By tethering supernatural elements to real human emotions, the anime fosters stronger emotional investment in the characters and their fates. We cannot talk about Tougen Anki without discussing the artistry of its design. If you have flicked through even a single volume of the manga, you have glimpsed the terrifying majesty of Oni transformations, the horns, the swirling malignant aura, and the faintly glowing eyes that set them apart from normal humans. The anime adaptation spares no effort in rendering these forms with cutting-edge animation. Studio Hibari is harnessing a blend of traditional two-dimensional craft and digital enhancements that meld into a cohesive, mesmerizing spectacle. Every transformation brims with kinetic energy, as though the screen can barely contain the might of an awakening demon. The backgrounds evoke a world that is both familiar and twisted by ancient energies, with crumbling temples and neon-lit cityscapes layered over scars from past battles. This is not a standard formulaic approach to demon lore. It is a fully realized universe teeming with hidden wonders waiting to be discovered. That sense of excitement is bolstered by the supporting cast. Personalities like Naito Mudano or Homare Biobugaora do not merely exist as tokens. They each carry secrets that influence the overarching conflict. For instance, while we know from early glimpses that Shiki's Oni lineage is central, Naito's motivations are rumored to be far more ambiguous. And Homare, with her stoic composure, might be grappling with dark regrets from a time before Shiki's birth. Even the comedic relief moments, which are sprinkled sparsely throughout the chaos, offer glimpses of deeper layers in each supporting character. These narratives run parallel to Shiki's struggle, weaving a tapestry of experiences that highlight the emotional complexity of a society haunted by demons and demon slayers. That complexity can be disorienting, but it is also precisely what invests audiences in the story from the first trailer onward. With all that said, the essence of Tougen Anki is, at its heart, an investigation into destiny, identity, and the cost of conflict. Shiki, though singled out as a focal point, is merely a catalyst for the unearthing of secrets that entire generations have tried to bury. By the time the final episode of the adaptation concludes, we are bound to witness more than just epic clashes and dramatic transformations. We will see shattered illusions, heartfelt confessions, and an uncertain road to either reconciliation or total annihilation. It is left to the viewers to determine whether bridging the gap between Oni and Momotaro is an exercise in futility or a genuine possibility. Given how the manga arcs are structured, it is safe to assume that every time you think you understand the stakes, a new dimension will pop up, forcing you to reevaluate everything you have learned. Yet all the hype in the world will not matter if the creative team fails to juggle these elements. That is exactly what makes Tougen Anki such a fascinating gamble for the studios involved in this multi-platform release. Netflix is known to favor big-budget spectacles that can hook a global audience. Crunchyroll cements its identity by catering to hardcore anime devotees and providing a wealth of simulcast experiences. Prime Video, though more eclectic in its offerings, has gradually upped its anime library as well. The notion that these three powerhouses are collaborating on day one, streaming for a single property, is unprecedented. It has the potential to be an absolute game changer, akin to merging multiple theme parks into one gargantuan entertainment complex. If the fans respond enthusiastically, and early conversations online suggest that many are intrigued, this could open floodgates of similarly structured deals for other eagerly awaited titles, possibly changing how we watch everything from comedic slices of life to the biggest epic adventures. Meanwhile, the clock ticks steadily toward the show's official debut date in July of 2025. Marketing campaigns are ramping up across multiple media channels, from crisp billboard advertisements in major Japanese cities to event reveals at fan conventions overseas. Even casual anime watchers have begun to notice the buzz. Some are drawn to the demon angle, while others are curious about how a fantasy set in modern times can so thoroughly rewrite the boundaries of good and evil. Whichever reason compels them to tune in, they all converge on the same question. Will Tougen Anki delight them enough to become the new standard-bearer of supernatural shonen stories? It remains to be seen, but one cannot deny the synergy of a well-defined premise, an enormous creative budget, a talented staff, and a cast that resonates with fans across multiple audiences. Yura Urushibara built a foundation in the manga that has proven to be timely, unpredictable, and emotionally charged. Now, it is up to the anime staff, from Kota Yamamoto laying down an electrifying score to Yumika Okazaki fine-tuning the editing, to galvanize these elements into a must-watch phenomenon. The evolution of Tougen Anki from a magazine series to the streaming juggernaut it promises to be might just mark a pivotal moment in anime history. And with the multi-platform approach, you can bet discussions will be more unified, be it on social media threads or watch parties with friends, since everyone can access it simultaneously. In short, brace for a story that will challenge your perspective of demons, redefine how you perceive streaming exclusivity, and spark debates in anime circles for years to come. Tougen Anki is not content to be merely the next big thing. It aims to be the next transformative phenomenon. Whether it fully delivers on that lofty promise is entirely up to the synergy between storytellers and viewers alike. The stakes are stratospheric, because if Tougen Anki can garner enough attention and unify fans worldwide, even for just a single season, its multi-stream success might inspire dozens of new series to follow. And that, dear viewers, is exactly why you will want to keep your eyes locked on Shiki Ichinose, the Oni that roared into existence one fateful day and changed the game forever. So, there you have it, a glimpse into a rapidly approaching future where Oni, Momotaro, and unstoppable transformations collide in a story determined to blur the boundaries between good and evil. If you have followed along this far, you have everything you need to hype up your friends for the summer of 2025. With an all-star cast, visionary staff, epic conflicts, the promise of an emotional roller coaster, plus an unprecedented streaming strategy, Tougen Anki is a title that seems ready to capture the hearts of fans worldwide. In a matter of months, we might be talking about it as a modern classic. Only time will tell if it ascends to that status, but the excitement is more than justified. After all, it is not every day that you see multiple streaming giants come together in the name of telling one unforgettable story. That alone should get your pulse racing. Prepare yourselves. In the battle between Oni and Momotaro, it is the viewers who will decide the ultimate fate of Tougen Anki.